folks. Welcome to our study session as we try to get it together here. We'll start with the. I'll start with the public hearings, and I don't have the. Okay, the public hearings. They'll go on as scheduled tonight. Correct, City Clerk.
Yeah.
Including the one for. My understanding on the Wolf Street one is they could always reapply for a special permit. So, and you'll get me the Commissioner of Deeds, and we'll go to Councilor Caldwell. Councilor Caldwell.
Oh, you said my name?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Say it again, Councilor Caldwell.
Oh, thank you. Blessings to all, everybody. I have items 10 through 14, and I have Commissioner Byrd here.
Hi, good afternoon. Saisha Byrd, Commissioner of Parks. You just want to fly through them?
Yeah.
So item number 10 is a donation, an in-kind donation valued at $700 by Jess Jackes, who's a art director. She'll offer crafty givers free art classes at a variety of the park locations from February to June.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Number 11 is an agreement with ClearSpan Structures for design and engineering service related to the greenhouse, specifically the roof. I actually have a really good explanation for it. The waiver will allow parks to enter into agreement for engineered construction documents for the new roof system at the greenhouse. The company specializes in greenhouse design and manufacture. We'll be able to finalize the part of the drawing set while later buying the system directly from Grospan, while the installation and construction will be publicly bid.
Okay. Commissioner, so this is the only outfit that we can hire for this, basically, or how? Yeah, they have the
Yes.
expertise and all. We've worked
Yes.
with them before.
Yes,
Okay.
Are they in the city or?
that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yep. Commissioner, can you give us a brief update on the greenhouse project? I know that there were a bunch of items in the capital plan from the prior year. I know that the budget office is putting together a capital plan for the upcoming year. Where are we with that? And, what do you anticipate?
I mean, right now, just in the phase of, I don't have much background, but updating the greenhouse, ensuring that it's intact, and working on actually replacing the roof. It is it's a national company.
And
Yeah.
Commissioner
So they're
Williams,
not in the city.
And to support Commissioner Byrd, she's new. So let's
I
have
know,
a,
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the stuff
Yeah.
that she doesn't know yet, but we can definitely have a,
Yeah.
Yep.
a
I'm
meeting
curious.
to discuss that
And-
information.
Another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the language of the letter, I'm not sure, who can field this, just interesting language that ClearSpan Services also procured through Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing. What's happening there? What's the relationship between ClearSpan and Sourcewell?
I do not have that answer for you, but I will get it to
I
you.
figured. Thank you.
That's one of the questions that Corp Counsel wanted to know as well. So I was going to connect you with her, and you guys can talk.
Okay.
But the agreement is going to be with ClearSpan.
ClearSpan.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So who are the other people?
yeah, the one other person the one other person, Grospan, is I guess a division of ClearSpan. So but I understand what you're saying as far as like the procurement. I can find it out later.
Thank you.
I'll find that out too.
Okay, we're all.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Okay, item number 12.
the Humane Society to the city for pet-related items, food, toys. We do have storage space to store it, and it will be distributed at the rabies clinics. But it is not 10,000; it's
And
100,000.
it's a grant that you're applying for.
Yes, a grant that we're applying for.
Get in touch with law, you know, I was kind of confused on that. I didn't know it was an application agreement. Can you get in touch with Janet for a new letter and have her submit the new letter? Yeah, okay. All right, hi, Janet.
Item 13 is a bond ordinance for Thornton Park. It'll allow the park system to be more versatile with the funding when it comes to the remodel of Thornton Park, in the replacement of underground and above ground structures. So it'll just give us more flexibility to do the work that needs to be done at the park.
So with this one, Commissioner, I would love to see, I mean, I'm not against any work that needs to be done.
Yep.
But asking for that and that council not seeing what's going on, we would love
Okay.
to see the process of what you're doing underground and above or anything
Yep.
that's going on at that park.
Is it tied to the standpipe or our water lines or just kind of more,
It's-
similar to Council Caldwell? Just looking for a little more
Okay.
info here.
I will get you a list.
Again, so, that's my part of the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
so I'm sure I've got people watching on TV right now that are taking interest in this item, and they're gonna be coming to me to want to know what's going on.
And 14 is an authorization for Thornton Park water service line replacement project to be used for improvements, water meter backflow. It's a DASNY grant at amount of $180,000. We're asking to amend it to include additional engineering and construction services related to the stormwater improvement, the stage, plumbing, accessibility improvements, and again, related underground and ground infrastructure
So
services.
this grant is already through, but you're asking just to amend, to add some of this.
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner, is there a plan to maybe upgrade the basketball area of Thornton Park?
I will get that answer.
Okay.
I know at this point, we're talking about the pool, the amphitheater, the bathrooms, but I can get that answer for you.
Yeah, at the moment I'll go there, ball a little bit.
I got Rashida if you play one-on-one, I'll tell
Let's
you.
go, let's go. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
Councilman Jacques.
Thank you, Augie. I have item 15, 16, and 17. You want to take them, Chief? Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Mons, the fire chief. Number 15 is my request for an agreement for the fire department to enter into services with Reverend Darren Jaime from the People's Church to be our chaplain for the rest of this fiscal year. Is there any questions on that? Number 16 is to request your approval for an application and agreement for us to apply to FEMA for a grant up to $750,000, and that's for us to buy medical equipment. We're going to buy these portable automated devices that help us do CPR for our constituents that may be in full cardiac arrest. So hopefully we can win that grant. Any
Yeah, I
other
wanna-
questions?
Yeah, number 15, I thought that's normally a whole year, not just 6 months.
Yeah, we're engaging, and because we're the beginning, the first half of the fiscal year is over. We're going to start right now to the end of this fiscal year.
It's going to be going forward at 6 months?
Yeah, we're going to go forward from January 1st until June 30th, and then we'll renew that in July 1st until the next fiscal year.
Why'd they change?
There's no change. We're just adding them to our chaplain services. We currently already have a chaplain. We're adding Pastor Jaime to our support system.
So there's going to be 2?
There's going to be 2.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions on that?
No, if I have any, I'll follow up offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Yes,
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You got 17.
Yes. 17. Janet, are you going to take this one? 'Cause I know the chief is in the training. Yeah.
behalf of the police department. This is for a grant for the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services to purchase 5 Tahoes, Chevy Tahoes. 2 will be fully marked regular cars, and 3 will be, I think, unmarked cars, but I'd have to get you that information. They will not be fully marked cars, and they're all for the Evidence Technician Division. And it's a grant. Yes, it is. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so with item 18, we are close to holding a public meeting. There's some stuff I've been working on the background to try to get us to a point where we can have a conversation. So we're going to continue to hold it. That'll be all.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Gathers.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I have items 19 through 22. With 19.
Mary? Probably not used to coming first.
Sorry, you're going quickly. Mary Robinson, City Engineer. This is accepting lining of 2 sewer manholes and replacing their frame and grate to meet the 101 offset. This is the building that police and fire are going to utilize as their headquarters, and we're entering into a lease agreement. So the property owner has to do these 101 offset to meet that county local law.
Any questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Item 20.
Good afternoon, Common Council. Mike Canizero, Commissioner of Finance. So 20 and 21 kind of go hand in hand. We're asking for authorization to issue a bond for $820,000 to purchase the property located at 516 Prospect Ave. This purchase will be on behalf of the school district. They're currently utilizing the space for Elmcrest Children's Center, educational programming. The current owner expressed interest in selling the property. We are looking at buying the property. And the school district will be paying all of that debt service with the current revenue stream they're getting from state ed. Did you, anything you wanted to add?
Yep. Commissioner, was there an appraisal on the property?
Good afternoon, councilors. Matt Ojed, Commissioner of Assessment today. No, there's a broker's opinion of value. This was a negotiated sale. It wasn't listed. Michael Lehman negotiated directly with St. Joseph's, and they settled on 820.
Who owns the property now?
St. Joseph's has owned it for about 20 years, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
That's going to the school district.
So
Chief
the idea is
DeFlorio.
the idea is we bond, and then the school district pays us back with a lease, right, correct?
We bond, they reimburse, and then they get reimbursed by state ed over, is Rob? That's essentially the framework, right, Rob?
It's most likely going to be a 5-year repayment period. There will be no cost to the city with this arrangement.
Just say,
It'll be a 5-year arrangement as far as getting paid back. The payback period will be 5 years, and there will be 0 cost to the city. All costs will be paid by the school district.
Councilman Shaw, did you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to make sure that the integrity of the program still remained the same. I know Refugee Assistance Program is in the building.
Correct. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
St. Joe's approached me and said they wanted to sell the property, and if we wanted to purchase it, that's why we approached the city. Those programs are very important to our community. We want to make sure that they continue there. I did have a engineering firm look at the property thoroughly. They did a phase 1 assessment of the property. It's in excellent condition. So, thank you.
Good program. It's a good program. I've been there.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
Yeah,
It's a very
excellent.
good program.
Yep. And our grants will pay for the payments.
With 820 number?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is our extension for our agreement to haul waste to Okra. The price did not change. It's just extending it for another calendar year. And so we currently pay $101 for trash and $40 for recyclables, excuse me. Any questions?
No, but I have a question, Ms. Fordat. Do you guys have any questions on this? Okay, really quick. Are we thinking about what, we get the news out for Christmas is coming? So we know we get abundance of trash and boxes and stuff. Is there anything that we're thinking about as far as trash? I know we get us 4 bulk sets a year, which is phenomenal.
Actually, I believe the city service guide is going to come out just immediately after Christmas. So it's going to have all the latest and greatest. It's actually going to be bigger, and it's like a booklet. So there's a lot more information in it this year, and it's going to be arriving at people's homes like right after Christmas, I
And
believe.
is that already done?
It has been sent to the print shop. I don't think it's been mailed yet, but
Does
we
it
can-
have on there that they get 4 bulks a year?
what's that?
Is it on there that they get 4
Yep,
bulks?
yep, that's in there.
I had a question now. We talked about the Christmas trees. What about those who have old artificial trees?
So we do typically do a press release announcing like when we're picking up Christmas trees and everything. And so mine is in pieces, my artificial, so I could bag that and fit that in my cart. But some people do put those out to the curb too as a bulk item. We have to be careful and make sure we know fake from real when we pick it up. The real ones are going to get mulched. The fake ones obviously
Fake
go in the
ones, yeah.
trash.
Of course, do have people in my district that actually, like on Sunday afternoons, pick up what we don't want, and they actually pick it up. They took an old artificial tree of mine, and they take,
okay.
so they come around and they'll take
Recycling.
it. They're gonna reuse that for, they need a park, so.
Yep. So yeah, we will have, especially about Christmas trees, everyone always wants to know when we're picking them up. And so we have a press release that goes out and information about that.
The only question I do have on this, is this the flat rate that we pay Okra? Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Are
you, President Pro Tem.
Oh, thank you, Councilor Gathers. I have items 23 through 32. I will hold 23 through 27. We will have on this 28, we will have the hearing tonight on Wolf Street, and 29, we'll have the hearing tonight on the issue on Salina Street. I'll entertain 30 here.
Good afternoon, Council. Jake Dishaw, Deputy Commissioner of Code Enforcement and Zoning Administration. Item number 30 is a special use permit application to establish a parking lot at the property located at 123-25 Ashworth Place. At Planning Commission, no one spoke in favor. We did have 2 people speak in opposition of the proposal. Basically, there were neighbors adjacent to it that were concerned with having these cars in and out of this lot, idling off and on, throughout the day. But happy to answer any questions that you have about this.
Any questions?
Planning Commission recommends denial, too, for the record.
It does?
Yes.
Okay. I know the district councilor's in favor of this, so we'll just vote on it.
It's a request to deny. So you all,
Yeah.
Well, it's a recommendation.
I did email the owner and ask for any renderings. I haven't received that yet.
Okay.
Because I know they were saying like it's not even closer to a building or something. So I wanted to be able to look at that. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, so they do have a landscape architect, so I'm sure we could gather that for you.
So what I was concerned about, there's so much congestion on the streets. Sometimes they're allowed to park on two-way. So what are we gonna do, like in that area, help release some of the congestion of the parking with a lot, though? Some people don't like it, but if we can get vehicles off the street, that's what I'm concerned about, getting, especially this time of year. I'm gonna get the snowplows through the streets, though. Because, a lot of times you're going to say, well, we need all vehicles off the street. And you're handicapped. They got nowhere to put them. You know what I'm saying?
can I ask a question? Why do we need to put a denial on the agenda? Is it part of rezone now? Is that something new?
So special use permits, the decision maker is the common council. So these start with planning commission, we go through the public hearing. They make a recommendation to this body for your review. So you make a vote, you have the final decision. So
They deny it, even if the planning commission deny it? Because it,
is the final decision maker. Now, you can weigh the recommendations and the situation and circumstances, and then, but it's up to you to vote as the final decision maker in that process.
I just want,
Jake, thank you, Kay. Do we know what the planning commission proposal in terms of rejecting it and voting it down and sending it to us? Beside the two individuals that spoke against it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they weigh all factors, right? They look at the application, they look at the plans, they look at what the ask is for. In this instance, the use would be to establish a parking lot. They take the public feedback, and then similar to this body, they take a vote. In the special use permit process, that vote is a recommendation to you all. So they're not deciding for you. They're not deciding on the application in itself. They're considering the factors. Apart, generally speaking, just outside of this specific application, a special permit means it's allowed, but there's special conditions and factors that are considered in allowing it. So it's a little bit different than allowing something by right. But a parking lot is permitted by special use permit, and that's kind of the things that have to be looked at and determined by these two bodies. Is this appropriate for this location? Weighing all the factors, pros, cons, and making a decision what's best for our city. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on this? Okay, we'll bring that. 31 is 28. Where, Jake, what place was this before? Was this a restaurant before?
Yes. Oh my gosh. What was it before? So this would be called the Wedge. It's an offshoot of the owners of the Curd Nerd, I believe. So it's just because of the new provisions for restaurants. It just it requires a special use permit. So.
Okay. Mr. Skinner's made sizable investments in that area, so.
Yeah, so that one was recommended for approval, and we had one person in favor, one in opposition.
Okay. Okay, then we'll go to 32.
32 is special use permit as well. This would be to approve and establish a liquor store at the location at 308 Gifford Street in Wyoming. No one spoke in favor, 4 people spoke in opposition. There were some pretty strict conditions of approval recommended should you vote on this, that include the landscaping in the previous site plan be completed in the spring. So that would be a condition of the special use permit staying valid and allowing them to operate should you vote to approve.
Jake, how do you handle, I know I was on the council when this was first proposed as far as that small little plaza, and the owners of that time, there was an agreement for landscaping and a lot of improvements. Nothing happened,
Yeah.
I believe. And so this is their second go-around here. Previously, there was a CVS pharmacy at this location next to the store that I think the owners of the property own.
Sure. So these tenants are new. They've actually.
The owners of the property are new?
I'd have to look at that.
Okay.
But the tenants weren't aware of the conditions from the previous approval. They've been paying rent in this space to just have it be vacant. They're not open and operating. They're claiming they're spending $3,500 a month, trying to open. They've gone through a lot of different steps with county plumbing, different requirements of code enforcement, different conditions. The only one that they couldn't meet because it's December was the landscaping.
Right, and, it being a particularly challenged area, an area I represent, and the proposals for a liquor store, I have unequivocally against it. But also, it really irks me that the former owners, and it seems like this landscaping, which would have improved the property, we haven't really done anything as far as to make them do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do, as I think you know, Counselor, there was some progress there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's better than what it was last go around when we were dealing with this. But part of this approval would include finishing that work. Otherwise, we would shut them down and close them. So,
Jake, is there anything, not specifically for this one, it's just in general, that we can monitor, like how many liquor stores, how many corner stores, how many in the neighborhood, right? Or is it that we don't monitor that? We allow that if you want to open up, if it's zoned as a business, it can open up. And my biggest concern is because I love that the businesses, I love that the community, but it's like every corner, there is a corner store in only certain communities.
sure. Well, specific to liquor stores, obviously there's certain state regulations that govern that. We took a hard look at that, the proximity requirements for that. This location does not violate any of those. Related to food and beverage retail, that's a little bit different from the liquor store. But listen, I hear you. I mean, a lot of our work in code enforcement is around some of these establishments, but I think we're doing a lot of work around the licensing side, around enforcement for bad actors. So we do want to consider, we don't want to hurt good business too. And I think, like anything, there's good and bad. But we're definitely open to, hearing different ideas on, how we can resolve some of the challenges we're facing with these. But the way the zoning is written, and if you can establish yourself either by right or special use permit and meet the laws and regulations of that and any state requirements, you would be permitted to move forward. Now, there are mechanisms, as you're aware, in place when we do have challenges at these places. We've closed a lot of stores, dozens actually. I mean, I don't have a specific number for you right now, but we've closed a number of these stores down. Counselor, you're aware a number of these stores on Geddes and other locations throughout the city. So we're aware of kind of the challenges and the plague of some of these, but there are good ones out there too. So we want to make sure that, policy and any ordinances in place are, not impacting good business too.
Counselor, you always can send it back, if you were to scope the area and you see that there's 4 liquor stores in a certain area of the city, you can send it back. You always can send it back.
Well, my biggest concern is that some neighborhoods have a corner store every 10 feet, right? And it's like a corner store, Family Dollar, John, 2 more corner stores, this and that, right? And then and then they sell everything, in neighborhoods and where their children at. So those are my concerns. Like, not that I'm against business. I think businesses should be becoming, we should make communities, but some of these communities are getting convoluted with corner stores, which brings in sometimes, not all of them, but some of them bring in
And
bad
some of
action.
them are the same people.
Yeah, I
mean,
share
don't
your
try-
concern. I think what I can say in front of you today is we have some ideas that we'll be bringing before you in the near future on looking at some of this stuff. We could talk offline, but we are looking at some amendments specific to special use permit procedure and policy that I think will help with some of this.
Do you, when you go into this, another coach, and then we can go ahead, just another question, really quick. He's coach, just so you know. Do you
I played
go,
ball with his old man.
Did you?
Yeah.
He's coaching now.
I know.
Do you take pictures? So when you go in there and it's code for, do you take pictures and upload them so that, like, when we have those code, can we see them, like, on, like, if it was like, okay, there was a code enforcement issue, you guys have noted it. Is there like a picture that's taken and then uploaded so that it's, or when you have to approve something, it's like a picture taken?
Yeah, so our code enforcement software, our documentation, our system of record, we have to document our findings. So there's written findings, there's photos. These things are not open to the public, but they're documents that we have in our system.
Okay, so I just want to make
I
sure.
send you a lot of pictures. All right.
I think, and I've been, you know, obviously on the council a long time, but this particular administration, Jake, and, you know, I see my friend Brian over there, he made great strides, and I think the council is willing to work with you to point, as Councilor Caldwell pointed out, to address all these issues with these corner stores. But we made some real significant strides over the last few years, so keep up the work, I
Yeah,
guess.
you have, because every time you've gone to shut one down, like you did in East Division, they come out of the woodwork and complain to me, why is it? And I go in there and I look and I say,
Okay.
yeah, it's shut down. Good.
I think we're all set with this. I'll go Counselor, myself and Counselor Jones-Rouser will have a meeting tomorrow regarding the Syracuse 800 South Wilbur Avenue and the SDC project. You got anything to say, Counselor?
No.
Okay. We'll go to Counselor Williams.
Start being funky today. I have items 34 through 38. We're going to hold 34 and move on to 35.
Good afternoon, Common Council. Mike Canizaro, Commissioner of Finance. Number 35 is accepting the New York State law that allows the city of Syracuse to impose a 2% tax on occupied rooms in any hotel in the city of Syracuse, so hotel and motel occupancy tax. This would apply to hotels, motels, short-term rentals. We are looking to start collecting January 1st, 2025.
Yep. And you know, my thank yous to your team, Commissioner, and Frank, and the council for approving this, and I'm glad we're finally going to be able to get a little bit of revenue.
One counselor. You know, I was unfortunately a guest at St. Joseph's when this was first brought before the council, and I will oppose this. I don't think it's a time to pass a tax like this, and I think it puts us on undue disadvantage to the city's hotels as opposed to the suburban hotels. I do like the idea that this is gonna apply to Airbnbs too. So, I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Councilor Williams.
Yep. Item 36, we're going to have an extended session immediately following this to discuss the transfer of ARPA funds over to the general fund. Then moving on to 37.
You went too far, Coach.
Item number 37 and 38 is to approve an emergency demolition at 400-30 Erie Boulevard West, known as Big Red. 37 would be a bond ordinance to cover the expense for that, totaling about $1.8 million. So I want to give a little background history on this because this building has been a hazard since summertime. I came back from a work conference back in June and got calls that 911 was called because of bricks falling into West Street or 690 below. And of course, went over there with Chief Kisselstein and others. Commissioner Collins was with me. Corp Counsel Sue Katzoff even made the trip because we had just landed back from our conference. Sure enough, bricks, down in the road. This building's been a hazard. You're aware. There's been fires there since. It's people in and out all the time. This owner has had a lot of opportunities to abate these hazards and develop this property. It's a danger not only to the public, but our first responders. I want to emphasize that because, as you know, we have one of the finest or the finest fire departments in the country, and a call comes in, like they're going inside that building. And that's a major risk to them. I don't need to speak for Chief Mons or Chief Davis, but if you do want to hear from them, I'm sure they could tell you, how risky it is when they respond to structures like that.
When it comes to demolition, do we RFP for this?
So, given that this is an emergency, we did not, but we feel like this is the vendor that we're asking to use is on our approved list from our RFQ list. but there are most experienced in a structure like this with the close proximity to the highway to perform this work.
You're going to build a property owner at some point?
So there would be a judgment against the owner and all his business entities, including the mortgager of the property, I believe. Our law department and corp counsel could speak to you all in executive session on that, but the intent is to aggressively go after the reimbursement costs to perform this. You know, I try not to look at costs when it's an emergency. I'm obligated to protect the public, and I want to stress, like, we're at the point now where we need to do that all the way to the point where a Supreme Court judge spoke that he's even concerned. Like, he issued an order that we demo this. So, you know, my take is the responsibility is in our hands to act on this. And I realize these aren't easy, but Councilor Hogan, maybe you know, I can't recall the last time code enforcement of the city has come before this body asking to bond for a demo.
It was a similar situation like this under the minor administration, yeah.
Yeah, the one on 81, I think the state ended up funding that one. But the point of bringing that up is this is very rare. We don't want to have to do this. We consider a lot of factors. I don't take this lightly. But again, the fact that, like, I don't think my predecessor or myself have ever come before you to ask for this means that it doesn't happen that much.
This includes cleanup too, Jake?
Yes, this would be full demolition, site clean out. It would leave a clean site. Everything would be taken away and hauled away.
Yep. It related, you know, as you make your pitch for the urgency of the project. I've been working with Councilor Hogan. He's going to perform outreach on the other property that we talked about, and we've got about 2 days to button that up. But we will have the opportunity potentially to put that on by waiver for Monday, depending on what happens with the conversation on Seymour.
I reached out, you know, it's incumbent upon us as city councilors in recognizing the housing crisis we had in the city with over 2,800 people unhoused every night, that if a proposal comes before us, even at the last minute, and they had a lot of opportunities, we'll have to look into them. So I reached out to the person representing the owners, and I've given them 2 days to come back with us, including with financials, as far as the housing goes. And otherwise, we'll take it down like we'll take this other one down.
Yeah, so what I would say about both is, I'll speak to Erie Boulevard first. We issued an emergency back in June and kind of had a similar response from that owner, like, you know, I'll take care of it, I'll get on it, this thing will be down. And it's just been slow played and delayed and not much action. Yes, yep, the Erie Boulevard, yes. Seymour Street, 15357 Seymour Street, which also has a judge order, emergency demo order. Same thing, that we had that really bad fire, if you recall, back in October. Multiple floors collapsed. There's been nothing that's happened since. Nothing, like no action from anybody. That's an entity, an ownership entity out of Brooklyn. So out of town actor who let the property go before this fire. There were problems there, you know, so I hear what you're saying, Counselor. I can appreciate that, and I guess we can see what happens. But the fact that nothing has happened since October, and the other one that I just went through for Erie Boulevard, I mean, I think kind of shows the response that we're going to see from these owners. I would hate to see us give more time and have an incident.
Well, it isn't going to be more time. I mean, essentially, it'll be the same time because we'll vote on it Monday.
Sure.
You know, so this is just.
I meant if it stays standing for more months and the risk of something happening. Again, I'm all for development, but I think we need to consider the safety side of it, and that's.
Well, I understand. I mean, like I said, this isn't going to be any more time. What this will be is an opportunity to say, hey, we're going to take it down if we don't have certain things taken care of, and you know, and I'm talking about a definite hard enforcement provision in this.
Sure. So. Happy to discuss further.
Yeah, we'll keep on talking.
Yeah,
Jake.
thank you.
Until
Jake,
Friday.
Jake, once you take it down, what happened to the land? Who get to take it?
They get the land. They keep the land.
They keep the land and will spend
I think what I can suggest is maybe an executive session for some of this stuff. I mean, I defer to Todd or Joe Barry to maybe speak to that. Thanks.
I, Todd Long, Law Department. Most of it I would like to address in executive session because it does come down to legal strategy with respect to the judgment. I can say based on my review that at least 400-30 Erie Boulevard is arrear in taxes 2 years. As to what to do next, that's not my decision.
Todd, not to, ever challenge a lawyer here, after dealing with Joe Barry for years and always losing, I thought, we better check the taxes again, because my understanding is they owe like 36,000, something like that.
That seems about right
That's
to me.
enough, 2 years? Is that 2 years worth or what?
What I had seen and what we had submitted to the court is that it was somewhere in the range of $20,000 to $30,000. When I had last looked at it, I don't know what it is as of right now, but it is arrears. Speaking to the legality as to the next steps, I can't personally speak to that. Okay. So.
Or any other?
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Yep. Item 39.
Good afternoon again. Matt Ojai, Commissioner of Assessment. We are requesting an amendment to the previous ordinance authorizing the lease with Cha Cha Ma at the atrium at City Hall Commons to extend by two 6-month options. Property is in contract to be sold as the prospective purchaser works through buttoning up financing. We found these guys to be a terrific tenant. They've activated the space. I don't know if anybody's been through. They've got great exhibitions there. And also they help us defray some of the carrying costs.
Does the presence of tenant complicate potential sale negotiations?
No, we've discussed with the contract purchaser. They like having the tenant in place. We'd be able to assign the lease to them if it came to that, but we've deliberately structured this as a short-term arrangement, so it shouldn't present an encumbrance.
I will add to that the foundation, the Central New York Community Foundation and CNY Arts are working together, and they have identified a donor that will suffice for the rent and the monies that are paid to the city in that effect.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
And item 40.
Hello again. Mike Canizero, Commissioner of Finance. Number 40 is a request to a purchase waiver of competitive bid with Cummins Allison for repairs and maintenance services for $3,000. Can't remember, it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We were paying Brinks about $60,000 a year for coin counting services. We stopped doing that 2 years ago, and we bought a coin counter for $10,000. So annual recurring savings there, that the cost of the coin counter is maintenance. That's $3,000 annually. So this is that coin counter maintenance. Any questions?
Good.
Thank you.
Councilor Jones-Rouser.
Items 41 through 51. Item 41.
Good afternoon, Council. Connor Muldoon from API. The city is seeking permission to enter a competitive grant process with Bloomberg Philanthropies for the Bloomberg Mayor's Challenge Grant. We're proposing an idea that is in support of the housing strategy around innovative approaches to home improvement mortgages. And so it's a staggered competitive process where the first round is due in just a few days, where we'd like to submit an idea around the competitive home improvement mortgages. And if we then make it to the final round, we collaborate with Bloomberg Philanthropies over the course of 6 to 8 months to refine that idea. So just seeking permission to apply for that grant.
Is the home improvement mortgage thing the only consideration that you guys did?
We have thought through a number of other ideas working with the administration, with NBD, and with budget team. There was an initial idea around financing window improvements around lead paint concerns, but after receiving some feedback from Bloomberg Philanthropies around the competitiveness of that idea and the innovation around that idea, they asked us to look at something similar but slightly different.
Okay. I mean, I guess when I look at it, when I read it, I feel like the improvements to the IT and API and all of that would have been a good fit, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong.
So API was funded almost 10 years ago by a grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies. So there certainly is a component and a connection there, particularly on our innovation side of our portfolio. API has grown in the number of years to include data analysis and digital services, performance management, some other things like that. So that there is certainly a connection between API and Bloomberg Philanthropies.
Okay.
So with the home improvement grant, wouldn't this be something, being that we got this new housing strategy and we got to get money for it, would this go into that pocket of fund, or what would it do?
It would be supportive of the housing strategy, yes, but it would not necessarily be the other capital needs to support that housing strategy. So it's very much aligned and working in tandem with our colleagues at NBD around that effort.
So where would this fit in then, if it wouldn't go under the housing strategy, if it's for home improvement?
Good afternoon, Councilors. Kimon Jordan, Director of Housing and Neighborhood Planning. So the idea is half-baked, and we're hoping to look to Bloomberg to help us develop the idea and implementation. And we are having calls with Bloomberg consistently to fine-tune the idea. But what we're thinking is to partner with an agency like Home Headquarters to offer low-interest loans to homeowners. The financing gets a bit complicated, but the city would then purchase a group of those mortgages and then en masse be able to market that to banks in the private market so that we can fund these renovations at scale, if that makes sense. So oftentimes when homeowners want to apply for a loan from the bank, it's not necessarily attractive because banks can't get the return on their investment with small loans. So we're thinking of ways that we can be creative where the city can step in, buy the mortgages in a bulk, and then sell that to the private market. So very quick overview of what we're thinking. We would like to have another call with Bloomberg, again, today to flesh out the idea. The mayor will need to put together a video, and then we'll need to submit by this Friday. But happy to keep counselors included in the planning process along the way.
So from the frame of the application, was there any other area that could have also been substituted beside the housing strategy being the focus?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what process API went through to vet. I think they did a call to all departments to submit innovative ideas. I know Bloomberg did want to see projects that where we can improve cities' efficiency and efficacy in the programs that we administer. They also wanted to see that there was some element of the city being able to improve outcomes for residents. So how is the program, through implementation, changing the life of a property owner, a homeowner, a resident within the city?
I'm not sure who would we go to, but for my own curiosity and getting a little bit into the wonkiness of the application, I'm sure is there. Would you mind sharing the application?
Happy to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what's the deadline to submit?
The deadline is, I believe, this Friday. So we'll be, yes.
Submitting.
Anyway, y'all know that.
Yeah.
Feel like I push them to ask now, because better a day late than a month late, right? So I'll take blame for that, but people do have to ask.
When did we learn that this application was coming up? When did we learn that it was available?
This program was announced in mid-October.
Mid-October, okay.
Well, I think the most important sentence in this, there is no local match required.
Exactly.
So I think you probably get a unanimous vote on this, so.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Items 42 through 51 Our request to transfer the following properties to the land bank once the foreclosure is complete.
Concerns for your district, Marty?
Right now, I support this. Right now, we've dealt with squatters and other people who actually have gone into the house. I know we're way behind in taxes for the last, 5 years. So I do support it, though. Second, on 43, 105 Grave Street, it should be noted that I did send Mr. Sherman a letter to contact me. He did not. So I believe that we've done all we can. So I would support, let's go through with 42 and 43.
Okay. Thank you. You have something you want to say, Joel? Okay. So the list to hold until Monday right now is 45 through 51.
You know, if I could just mention, aligned with this, is that the land bank over the last month has already put out 30 houses that will be demolished. They're already, I know you know, they're already been bid on, and we already decided that they're coming down. So as efficient as this process is, especially as the destabilizing of the delinquent and dilapidated houses, so.
And Kimon, great job. That individual is back on the tax trust. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks for your additional outreach as well.
Yeah.
We need those taxes, Councilman Jacques. We need those taxes.
We do. We do.
Are you okay?
Thank you.
Okay, one other's, Councilor Monto isn't here. Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Councilor Hogan. We will continue to hold item 52.
Okay, well, motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Second.
Sure. So we ain't leaving? You want to sit right here?
What's it? Come on.